Sublime magnificence.
Hey guys, you know who it is, what's going on, when it's happening, where it's at, and why we're here today. How you doing? It is I, the sublimely magnificent big ugly himself, Omari Feo Grande on YouTube, back with another episode that this guy hasn't seen, and I am joined as usual by my co-host and friend, one of my best friends in the world, El Director himself, Bill Smith.
Hello, Omari.
Oh no, chill, Bill Smith, my bad.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
It's always good to be back on the show.
Yeah. Good to have you.
Thank you for having me back.
No.
Boy. Boy, today is a doozy.
I love that I realized what you were doing. Like, first I'm just like, I'm doing a bit, whatever, because it's somber mood because of the name of the movie. And then about the third or fourth cough, I realized what you were doing. Yes, that's right. So what are we talking about? So this is a show where we review things. It's like a movie club. We trade movies back and forth, talk about them, discuss them week after week. And this week, we're covering a film from early 2000s Japan. This week, we're doing a movie called Suicide Club.
Suicide Club from 2001. Detective is trying to find the cause of a string of suicides. Is the bio of this. Really, it's a series of vignettes concerning this string of suicides in Japan. Catalyst being 54 schoolgirls jumping into a train. Suicide Club. It's directed by Sion Sono. Written by the same. Stars a myriad of actors. There's no real lead. We have Detective Toshiharu, that is played by Ryo Ishibashi, and then beyond that, there's just this movie's just filled with a ton of people.
Mm-hmm. Some of them look like familiar faces. I just would not be able to tell you what from. Like Kuroda looked like he was in some other movie that I've seen. Anyway, yeah, that's right. So, Bill, why do I say why I picked it first or like whatever? Yeah, I picked. I picked it because why this movie?
Why this movie?
Why this movie? I picked it because when we were talking about Battle Royale and or some other movie that had a twist in it that you can see very early on if you pay enough attention, it reminded me, and I almost talked about it in the review for it. I was gonna be like, and this is like that time in Suicide Club when I called out this, but I instead stopped, asked, had you seen Suicide Club? You said no, and so I said, never mind. And then I forgot about it for a while because I saw this movie in about 2007 and had not seen it until we were doing it for this. And so I was like, you know what? Battle Royale went over well enough, and that was another case where I hadn't seen it in over a decade and a half. So let's give it a shot. Also, it turned out to be very appropriate for the timing of its release because apparently, as I had apparently forgotten rather, it falls into the horror genre. It has a lot of horror tropes.
We haven't mentioned that we've entered our spooky our spooky times of the year, and so we're going to be looking at some exclusively horror or horror leaning or Halloween themed films these next few weeks, and this is certainly one that kicks us off. I was anticipating something battle royale-ish. You had mentioned that a couple of times in the initial just throw at me of like, hey, we're watching this next week. So I was kind of just thinking that those vibes. Beyond that, you never really have to keep yourself fully open-minded. Yeah. You have no idea. Your brain in today's world fights going to Suicide Squad. But it's not going to be that, because Omari already said that it was like it's not. You didn't say it was like, but you said something that gave the like battle royale vibes kind of deal, or time frame or something like that.
Pretty much Japan film from around the same time,
right? So I'm thinking like young adult is where my brain is probably going, and then obviously knowing the culture of suicide in Japan, and I'm like, okay, so how is that playing into this? Is that for all I know, this could just be a name. This just could be a weird name choice pulled out of something, or a line, or
because they thought it sounded cool or whatever.
Right. So I'm thinking
throw random words in.
How much is that word going to be
involved?
And then getting going. Definitely gives off the vibes of like the indie films of the early 90s here in America, and even some of the films in like the late 70s. It's giving off some of those independent film vibes.
I can see that.
Is what I'm getting with just like the bustling traffic, the handheld of it all.
The standard definition only.
It's it's a little bit of a grainy film stock. It feels a little run and gun. It feels a little I don't want to say cheap. Cheap's not the right word, but like, they're not throwing up big expensive lighting rigs to light this subway.
Gritty.
My opening notes are indie film vibes with this opening, and then real people in the subway. Like that was the other thing, is like a lot of these folks that are coming down the stairs and getting and the shots that they're getting of them just like moseying about and chit-chatting, all these folks. It just kind of feels like real people. It feels like they went to a subway track and had a camera, and they were just like, all right, let's film some stuff.
Yeah, this is our B-roll. Oh, no.
So that all feels like, I consumed a lot of films from the early 90s, and then I've dipped my toe into the 70s with films like Nashville and like, I guess kind of Easy Rider on those on that end of things. But it kind of is already leaning me in that direction. And then the catalyst of the film occurs, which I already mentioned in the bio, because the bio didn't exist, and so I felt like I needed to fill it out a little bit. And
so that was definitely an opening in front of the thing.
Oh yeah, here, let me take you through it, because this all happens really in the span of like 3 minutes, and I'm never taking these frequent of notes. But indie film vibes with this opening. Real people on the subway? ? Definitely indie film vibes. No, they aren't about to. What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck?
Yeah, I my thing was, who forgot about this opening scene? Me. Jesus.
So guys, this film is the darkest, most fucked up film we have covered by leaps and bounds. The film that Fluffles brought us, which I can't even remember, Insidious, Malignant, is Child's Play. It's Silly Little Monsters. Get your silly little monsters out of here, peasant. This is deep, fucked up, mental trauma, darkness.
Woo! That opening scene though, with the 54 girls jumping in front of the fucking
It's like
train.
You filled a trash bag with red corn syrup and threw it in front of the train. It's like you filled 50 trash bags and threw it in front of the train. Yeah, it was. It's this.
Yeah.
This movie is so good at being so disturbing while being so horrific. Like just the like the pleasant nature of it all.
Yeah.
And the counting to 3 with a smile on your face as you which like I feel like that is like is that a universal thing? No. Like every human being on earth at some point in their life has like had arms with somebody and like gone like, yeah, what? And swung.
Like that's just pretty much. I'm not sure if it translates directly to like a 1 and a 2, but it is used in that like context a lot with the, because I see it in anime like with little kids and they're like, it's the same concept as us going like a 1 and a 2 and a...
Yeah. So it's wow, it's so already off the bat. I was you know, you're 10 minutes into this film and that opening scene is over and you know that like we're like this director is going to pull 0 punches.
Correct. It is a hell of a way to make an impact on somebody, to be like, this is the type of movie this is. And it had been 15 years, so I had forgotten things. Like, I had forgotten it was a horror film. I just remembered it was called Suicide Club, and one of the things about it. And I was just like, okay, I'm like, oh shit, there's a lot of horror elements to this thing. Like, cuts to the hospital, the lights is turning off, and him like going through the hallway looking for the ladies. And then the lady just like, see you later. Whoop, out the fucking window. Now, I do have a question for you. How early did you realize that it was the little girl's song doing this to people?
I mean, I realize never until they confirmed it.
Yes.
Assumed strongly for the majority of the film. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, like it's every character is shown almost hypnotized by them
and listening to this song.
And yeah, and like, you know, I
it's a catchy song.
Yeah, and so often there's so much like metaphor in the context of Japanese dialogue that it's hard to really, like, they could be shouting something to a Japanese person and I'm like, yes, the duck does land on the water.
Ah, yes.
Absolutely. I know what that means. Yeah. You know, whatever.
I do agree, because I had guessed, and it was the only thing I remembered about this movie is that I had accurately guessed this like the second time we see them. And I'm just like, what if it's these little girls here that's making people fucking kill themselves? You know, they've got to be doing that. That'd be, you know, I just figured it'd be the funniest thing to say. And then I realized I was confirmed when the girl who was trying to show it to our group at the time got up, walked in the other room to complain to the guy who wasn't watching that I called it. Like, God damn it, I wanted to show these guys something, and Omari just fucking blurts out the twist early on in the movie.
Yeah, I don't know if it's so much of a twist as just like,
but
like
at the
you
same
get
time,
confirmation.
Yeah, they do it in a way where you could think it's pretty obvious, but you could also be like, well, this is just the common thing. The people in this universe really like listening to this group. Like, you know, because they draw attention to it without drawing attention to it. It's the weirdest thing. Like, they're a constant, but not constant enough. And then, like, you know, you get the police, you got all your different archetypical police, including the old guy just like, this ain't no crime, it's just kids killing themselves. The bald one. And other guy like, this might be a crime. And the other dudes, this is definitely a crime. You old people need to get with the times.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're fighting all the stuff. Then we get to the second mass suicide and the reason for the title of the film. The fucking high schoolers on the roof. Did you hear about the girls on the train? Hey guys, let's kill ourselves.
That's it. I'm saying it's so disturbing how it's so disturbing. It's like how comfortable they are, how casual it is, how joyful
like,
it is.
Let's all kill ourselves.
And like the whole time you're just like, are they joking?
Yeah.
Are they fucking joking? What are they? And like, and then you even have the one kid at the end who's just like crippled in fear on the edge, and just like, I thought we were joking. Yeah. What the fuck? What the fuck? And then he gets pulled down.
Yeah, he's like, wait, we're not joking? They all do it, and then there's 3 people left that were too scared to jump. And yeah, one girl crosses over the other to go to him. No. Oh my God. And then the last girl, everyone turns around like, what are you doing? Suicide Club. We're the charter members. And then she jumps too. It's like, holy sh.
It's so. It's and so. Yeah, and
then as the movie goes on, you get the fucking you see the weird shit where they apparently take the kids killing themselves. They make a big wheel out of like squares of skin they take from them. Still don't know what that's about.
There's the whole that thing.
There's the whole don't know that thing
of it all. It's just a whole other layer of it. I mean, I've looked up dissections of this film, and everybody's just like, well, I don't know. This is what it might be. Like, nobody's ever spoken to like, this is what this means. This is what this means. It's like, you know, most people think it's like a dissection of Japanese obsession at that time with like pop culture and their cell phones and losing their own
sense of
culture
and how connected they are with their self.
Right, yeah. And so there's that whole layer to it, but then yeah, the skin thing, it can be a standout moment because we're probably just going to be jumping around from here.
Yeah.
But the crazy glam rock anime character homage to Rocky Horror Picture Show dude,
the crazy hair
in the middle, that it just like 3/4 of the way through the film, you suddenly get this dude and these lackeys who are like, hey, we're the Suicide Club. We've been the ones doing this whole time, and here we are killing all these people too.
Yeah, when they
and it's just completely a red herring side story thing.
Gets a fucking
means absolutely nothing. Means absolutely nothing. It's just a complete side thing.
This guy gets a musical number with an English chorus and everything. Because of death. Because of death. Because daddy's the shine all night long.
Yeah, while they're doing like another like ritualistic murder thing going on. It is like the blending of just like smiles and this just like horror.
The fucking montage of suicides, including the lady slicing her hand on the fucking.
Oh my god! I want to say that was like a daikon radish.
Yeah.
But yeah. Oh my god, that was so fucked up.
Jesus.
That was so messed up.
Yeah, there's a lot of just crazy shit. And like I said, we get the reveal we get the false reveal. The motherfucker, one of the lackeys had like really crazy hair, and you could just tell this motherfucker loved his role, because he's one of those dudes that just every moment with him being in character, if he's on screen, his idea of being in character is having some kind of motion to him. Like there's one point where they're just standing behind the girl while she's like trying to type shit, and he's just
the gold tooth guy in Bloodsport.
Yeah, the gold tooth guy.
He's the gold tooth guy in Bloodsport. He's like, like really plays up that picking up of that tooth.
Exactly. It's like this dude loves his role. And yeah, the fucking that scene, yes, the song was one thing, but like you said, it's a big red herring, but they're doing fucked up shit while the song's going on. He's like beating the shit out of puppies and baby seals and shit, while also having assaults of various kinds going on in the background. But
we don't know the fate of Batgirl.
No.
We're never given that.
No. And she was like trying her best to like be the ally to the cops. She's like, there's more to this shit. This website got dots and shit that I still don't really understand the website and the dots. There's like it's got dots and shit that pop up right before the murders before the suicides get reported. It's like these people killed themselves, the dots pop up, and then people report that they killed themselves. And it's like, how did they know? But then they have shit like the kid. So we talked about the coughing. At one point, before the old dude shows up, or before the red herring man shows up, the cops get a call from what sounds like a little kid being like, "Stop talking about the Suicide Club." And he like coughs after every line.
Yeah.
And
it's so disturbing.
Yeah.
It's so my last notes that I took were, this is so freaking unnerving. The throat clearing thing by the young caller is so freaking unnerving. It's such a little thing, but it's fucking, oh my god, it's so, and like I'm wondering just now as we're talking, is that members of Dessert?
See, that's what I thought at first.
Because by the final call, it's revealed that there's multiple kids there.
Yeah.
On the phone call. Is the throat clearing a sign to their is the throat clearing a signal to their singing?
Maybe.
And they're just like like my throat, my vocal cords are exhausted.
Yeah. See, that's part of what I was kind of thinking this time around as well.
But yeah, it's so fucking disturbing. It's so disturbing. And they slowly drive the detective to
commit suicide,
join the club. After his own kid, yeah, his son,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he loses his son to it.
And then the girl at the end, that's not his daughter, right?
No,
Do we just kind of stop tracking the daughter and the wife?
I think so. Yeah. The girl at the end is the girlfriend of that found her boyfriend in the street and asked him why he died.
Right.
Or why he did it. Right. That's who she is.
Right, because he survived long enough because he hit her on the way down, so it like took away some of his momentum.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we stopped following the daughter or the detective's daughter and the detective's wife. I hope the best for them. But the fucked up game being played takes the life of the detective's son, and then they're like, this is again, like these feel like very like indie movie shots. Like, let's just throw everybody in a room and we'll get some cameras handheld and we'll just kind of figure out where we need to go with it. But some like really dramatic work by this group of actors just piled into this room. And then yeah, it's such an intense scene culminating in the detective taking his own life.
Yeah. And then it's around that time when they arrest the other dudes and everything. And if you haven't already put it together that Dessert has something to do with this plot, this motherfucker, when he's like, I got arrested, it was all me, blah, 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 jigsaw puzzle, and then next thing you know, the next song is Dessert has a new song. Jigsaw puzzle. It's like, okay, they're literally singing the song the dude just got arrested singing, as if he's trying to tell the audience, he's telling us, I'm not actually the killer. I'm just pretending to be.
Yep. Yeah, it's complete red herring. Turns out, it's so Dessert,
and that's why we follow the other girl, because she's the one that puts it together.
Right. Dessert, through their music, is convincing these kids to call this 1-800 this hotline, and then that hotline invites them to a location where that location basically brainwashes them into giving up a slice of skin and committing suicide within a certain amount of days.
Yeah. Because they hit him with the big philosophy thing about connections and your connection with this world and your connection with yourself. And my only thought is they just confuse him into being like, okay, yeah, I agree. What do we do to fix this? Kill myself? Okay. And just because I was confused as they were talking, but it's like, but what about your connection with yourself? Are you actually this? I'm like, what? Why does this lead to suicide? Like, if you die, do you lose your connection with yourself? Are you telling them to kill themselves to find out if they lose their connection with themselves? Is that what's going on here? There's some kind of full philosophy, or there are people who, because she makes it seem like she's not going to kill herself, which, I mean, she technically doesn't in the course of the film, when she uses her line like, I am comfortable with who I am and in touch with who I am. I'm like, okay, so I guess if you don't do what she's doing right now, you go, you know what, you're right, I'm gonna kill myself. That's what I thought it was, but she gave up a slice of skin too.
Right. So a lot of the essay attempts on this film would say that she believes that it is links in a chain, and if she's a link that doesn't do it, that it will stop, that it'll break the chain.
Okay.
That's what a lot of online theories have it, that she doesn't do it. Like, she is telling the cop, like, no, essentially, like, I'm undercover.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop this madness by not allowing this to happen, is what a lot of people think. But I mean, that very, if we're all honest with ourselves, that very, very easily could be, no, stop.
Let me do this.
I'm going to go fucking kill myself.
Yeah. It's like, well, I'm going to get on. You didn't let me get in front of this train, so I'm going to get on it and go somewhere else. I'm content. I'm in touch with myself, and I will not lose my connection, for I will connect with myself in the afterlife, or whatever the fuck the lesson of those kids is supposed to be. Also, maybe we don't go to kids for philosophical advice about whether or not we should stay alive.
Man, that was so creepy. Like, it was so creepy, but also deep and beautiful in a way I don't understand, but can acknowledge its deep and beautifulness. I, there are, despite this having a much different tone, there are some themes that you can see between the two films. There is a similar way they're shot. There is a I think we might be learning that around this era there's a real love for like hard cuts. In this era of like really bustling, noisy, busy scene, and then a really hard cut to like a very static, silent person standing very far away in a really wide shot. Like that kind of thing.
They did.
Feels like
I do see that.
So those are really interesting to notice and pull out, and this film definitely goes for interesting choices and really lives in its silence at times, and I am someone who's perfectly okay with like with especially if you're going to use the silence like that. It felt appropriate and added tension and increased fear levels at times. It's not even necessarily fear, it's just like disturbing
discomfort.
It's so
even though I laughed at the Because Dead song just because it's me, okay, that if you know me, you know I'm gonna laugh at a song like that. At the same time, even the music, nothing is really meant to be funny about the song. The music is creepy. It's the and he even is like singing like to the it just took me out of it because the chorus was in English, and I was just like, okay, because he says all the stuff in Japanese and then he just goes because dead. Also, just because dead. Just because dead. And I've had that song stuck in my head for like the whole day. It's the shine all night long.
It's so weird.
But
it's
I get but the message behind the song, if you look at some of the words, I get what he's trying to say. There are people who want to die like glorious deaths because they will forever be like talked about and stuff. Like, because he mentioned Joan of Arc and shit like that. Hell, there's a fucking, I forget which anime it is, but there's an anime recently where one of the characters wants to, like, one of the villains really wants to die but can't. But he wants to die and die in a grand fashion because of all the other legends in his universe. And, so the message, especially, I guess, in Japanese culture, like, I can see it being there.
Yeah.
It's just, the song is a creepy ass song if you actually, like, pay attention to the song.
Yeah. Which I feel like is a great segue to lead us into this week's quote, which we did last week for Blade Runner. Was that last week?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So this week's quote, you had last week, so I'll go ahead and spit this one out. But this is kind of the running theme of the film, and this is attributed to Child. Even if you were to die, your connection to your boyfriend would still remain. Even if you were to die, your link to the world would remain. So why are you living? Roundabout that quote is said multiple times in this film, and it is just so fucking creepy and weird and simple. And
yeah, that's what I was saying. They just kind of keep asking them these weird philosophical weird questions until the person decides, you know what, you're right, I'm gonna kill myself,
so you can stop asking these damn questions.
That's why I'm also, but then again, I'm like, again, why are we asking this little kid about philosophical advice about whether or not I should live?
Yeah, it's like, well, it's not like some kid, it's like this weird hive mind. Like, I don't know what's going on there. I don't know what's going on there.
Hive-minded children that decided to weaponize this whole kill yourself thing via a J-pop group. And then the way the movie just fucking ends. Like, it just ends. Like, they're doing the whole, like, train thing, and then, like, as she gets on the train, it's just, and here's the credits.
This film is not in the business of telling you anything. It is in the business of showing you these things and explaining none of them.
It is the most show and the least tell. Show don't tell. Watch Suicide Club. I go be told shit. I'll show you all you need to know. But yeah, that fucking What else? Is there anything else I wanted to fucking touch on? Cause damn, this movie, like you said, it had a lot of like moments and shit to it. It definitely was a thing.
I think when they had we hit a lot of them.
The second time we saw that white handbag just kind of slide into the frame, I'm like, wait. I'm like, why is there an evil handbag? Is this? Did I get this mixed up with the
it's
kid
like a bowling
thing?
bag?
Yeah, just. And then they see the things inside. I'm like, how did I forget so fucking much about this movie? What the fuck is with this skin wheel?
It's like this movie would still be so fucking weird and creepy without the whole chain of human skin patches thing. But then there's a chain of human skin patches.
Multiple. Like every time that people kill themselves, it's like everybody that they just had killed themselves already had their skin attached to this fucking skin wheel.
Yeah, like we haven't, like that's the thing. Like we've seen the skin wheels of like 800 people, and like we've only seen like maybe 150 deaths, 160 suicides. So like this shit's about to pop off after this film is over. This is just the start. Like this is just the first week of what would be weeks if this girl isn't right, or if this theory isn't correct, where this girl, where it's a chain event thing, and if you break the link in the chain, it stops. If that isn't correct, then fuck, this universe is just on the precipice of
some bad times,
of an insane thing. Yeah, and that's just that. Like it's gonna keep going.
Yeah, ridiculous. Because
like I said, darkest, most fucked up movie we've ever watched.
I did think it was funny that after the third mass suicide, the old dude with the bald head is still just like, it's just a suicide fad. What? You say that like that's a common thing. Yeah, it's a suicide fad. Kids do this all the time. What? No.
Well, yeah, because the other detectives were like, we're like, this is murder. This isn't suicide. This is murder. And then that's when the old guy is like, it's a fucking suicide. We can't, you got to call a spade a spade. This is a suicide.
Yeah.
Like we gotta figure out why all these people are committing suicide, not thinking that there's some sort of mystical
group of 12-year-olds hypnotizing them to do so. So yeah, I guess that was we covered just about everything in the movie. So that was Suicide Club. What you think, Bill? What's your final thoughts?
I believe I sent to you a Facebook message. What the fuck did you do to me?
I have a bit more context with that now.
And then you had the fucking balls to reply with a question mark. After submitting this movie, also, I know when you watch these films, and I know that you had just watched it. So
here's the thing.
And you reply with a question mark? Like you don't know what the fuck I'm talking about?
My thought pattern went to like a couple things. The first thing was, this movie is ridiculous, is how I read that to begin with. Which, okay, that could be the case. Then the second thought, like, well, maybe he hasn't fully watched it yet. Maybe the recent episode put up, I messed up something, or the editor messed up something with the visuals and stuff. Like, what the fuck did you do to me? I look weird. Like, what the hell's going on? So I was like, huh? And then you put lol. I'm like, okay, so this is about the movie. I wanted to find a GIF of the Because Dead guy playing his guitar and just reply with that, but I couldn't. But yeah,
it's I don't know. This movie is extremely complicated, and my feelings about this movie are extremely complicated. Will I ever watch it again? Doubtful. Extremely doubtful. Did I enjoy it? I mean, did I enjoy my time? I don't know. Could I have figured out how to spend a different hour and 40 minutes? Probably.
Hey, at least it was short.
But did I enjoy it? No, but yes. I mean, it's strange to call it a lovely film, but it is pretty. I really like the way it's shot. I'm a sucker for that just kind of vibe and style. And then, like I said, if it's done well, if the silence is used intentionally, if it's a decision rather than like, fuck, we gotta make this thing longer. Let's put some just silent shots of trees in it. I can be a real sucker for like a slow burn of a movie. And this film has both of those, and I thought it was extremely interesting. Am I ever going to enjoy watching a film like this? Probably not. But like, that doesn't mean that I can't
respect
like the film.
Yeah.
Like 5 years from now, somebody comes up and they're like, oh yeah, I just watched Suicide Club the other night. I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, Suicide Club, I watched that. That's good. It's a good, really dark, really weird film, is probably what I'm gonna say.
Yeah. And I think that's...
What about you?
So, yeah, I think that's about a good way to sum up, I guess, my first experience with it and how time eventually treated it in my head. I didn't remember how fucked up it got. But I remembered watching it and, remembered favorably or whatever. And was like, okay, this is cool. Also, I guess me and all my egotism just remembered, I caught on to that pretty fucking early on. And so that was always the first thing I associated with the movie. It was, I called the twist real early, and so I forgot everything else. But yeah, like you said, like we mentioned earlier, it's not really a twist so much as a this is what's happening. Do you get it yet? It's not a twist. It's just a do you get it yet?
Right.
And
this is a clear option. It's just we're not going to confirm it until much deeper into the film.
Yeah, we want you to think that this is at least in play. Then we're going to tell you it isn't with this guy, only to reconfirm it later.
Mm-hmm. It's like calling that the angry boyfriend is going to end up being the murderer. It's like, well, yeah, I mean, it seemed likely. He was definitely an option.
He's like, I don't care if you is Captain America. I know,
but there were like 6 options. So
yeah,
I don't care if he did use an Android when everybody else used an iPhone. Deep cut for this guy hasn't seen. Go watch
one of our things. Go
I don't
find
remember
it.
what
Watch
episode that was
everything
on.
to find it. There's the option select. Watch everything to find it.
The first person to find that episode and comment, hey, here's the one where Bill talks about phones and bad guys, I'm going to send $25.
Oh,
that's
shit.
from me to you.
Oh, shit. You heard him. All right, so if you want to know where to find,
Omari is excluded from that competition.
No, I wasn't gonna do it. I figured that's what you meant, because I'm not gonna be sitting there just like, well, yeah. Before I was about to segue into the exits, but what are we watching next week? Because it is spooky
next
month.
week. Oh yeah, well I guess I'm gonna have my first crack at Spooky-tober, October Halloween Horror Fest, horror scary movie time. Got to work on shortening that name. I'm going to go with something. It's going to be spooky, but it's going to be casually spooky, which is kind of more my vibes usually. And we are going to watch The Craft.
Macaroni and cheese.
I believe 1995's The Craft. Let me confirm that real quick because I'm sure there's multiple things called The Craft.
Mm-hmm.
It is 1996's The Craft. I was close.
Right.
1996's The Craft. This guy hasn't seen next week. Check it out.
Cool. And if you want to check out those other things and go out there and go ahead and try and find yourself a way to win $25.
I'm fucking serious.
Yeah, check out the other videos on this channel here.
$45.
You can also find me. You can also find me elsewhere on YouTube on the Whatever We Want podcast. New episodes every week, every Wednesday. I do it with a good friend of mine. Yeah. I do it with a good friend of mine, a good friend of the show, Super Jazz, who finally commented on the Cardinals video, by the way. Then he saw you're like talking to him because I had to like point out a video for him to go fucking watch.
I did it on the Cardinals video.
That's what you started.
I should have known he was never going to be watching it.
That's when you started it. You did it like the following 4 things. The bit started on that video.
What do you mean bit? Fuck you, Jess.
It's okay. He won't see this one anyway, knowing him. But I do that. We talk about whatever we want, whatever episodes every week on that. You can also find me elsewhere on Twitter and Twitch at Giotavi. That is Giotavi. Come on in, stop on by. Bill, you got anything you want to say to the folks before we get out of here?
I can't do anything but play Starfield. It's absorbing my life. It's consuming my life. I can't do anything but it. I watched this movie today at work because I wanted to play Starfield for an hour and a half before Omari got home, and we did this podcast.
Hey, that's like me in Street Fighter 6. I get it.
Yeah, I can't. It's consuming everything for me. If you liked Skyrim, if you liked Fallout 4, this is Skyrim and Fallout 4 in motherfucking space, and it's the tits. It's the tits.
Busro Dark Side. Ha ha. Yeah, the tits. I could have been a Jedi like you. Then I took an arrow to the knee. You guys have a good one. We'll see you next week. Adios.